Beautiful. Beautiful.
Indication, indication, indication ends. We lead to our left, front row first.
Wait, there.
You pointed to the right.
Arrival of the official party, and remain standing for the national anthem.
Treat often, comfort often. In this ceremony today, you add caregiver and professional to your role of student. Patients you meet need more than just accurate assessments. They also need kind words and a caring heart. Please join me. Gracious giver of life, we gather today to mark a transition, to highlight the move of our students to caregivers as they continue in their calling to become doctors. May their commitment and dedication to their studies also show in their dedication to comfort their patients whose lives they will touch. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Martin, and ladies and gentlemen. Those of you that have the opportunity to take a seat, please be seated. Army Intelligence Center and School at Fort Huachuca, Arizona. He is the uncle of Second Lieutenant Alexander Shams. I might say General Marks, Colonel Morris, who I entered information for medical students, not only at USUHS, but throughout the entire nation. The ceremony was nationally developed by Dr. Arnold P. Gold and the Arnold P. Gold Foundation for Humanism in Medicine, where the accent and theme are intended to emphasize the importance of the very human and professional relationship between patients and physicians. The Gold Foundation provides our students with a gold pin, Humanism in Medicine, and we ask them to wear it proudly on their white coats throughout medical school and beyond. It will be awarded to our students today. In the practice of medicine, we are always running a fast race to keep up with the science of medicine. This is, for certain, a major responsibility. At the same moment, entering into a full human understanding of the patient is also a critical ingredient of medical practice. Physicians must always reflect on how they are viewed by patients and simultaneously put themselves in the position of the patient to complete full understanding. We now turn to the early 20th century and to Harvard University Medical School for the final remarks of Dr. Francis Well Peabody to the medical student classes. Dr. Peabody's comments, short as they are, represent a striking core value of humanism in medicine. These remarks, in the language of the time, will be read by your classmate, Second Lieutenant Josh Krieger.
The good physician knows his patients through and through, and his knowledge is bought dearly. Time, sympathy, and understanding must be lavishly dispensed, but the reward is to be found in that personal bond which forms the greatest satisfaction in the practice of medicine. One of the essential qualities of the clinician is interest in humanity, for the secret of the care of the patient is in caring for the patient.
My thoughts went back to a comment I read made towards the end of the Vietnam War. A brigade surgeon said, "The final lesson of Vietnam must be that there is a need for physicians who are well trained in both field and clinical medicine. It's illogical to think that a fully trained pediatrician, internist, or surgeon with only the basic medical officer course training to function in this capacity. A highly motivated physician will learn his duties on the job, but this is not optimal or effective. In order to ensure that physicians are prepared for these tasks, formal recognition should be given to the specialty of military medicine. Only in this way will the lessons learned in Vietnam not have to be relearned in the next conflict." In 1972, Public Law 92-436 established USUHS was signed. In 1976, our charter class, including General Casanelli, arrived on campus, or arrived on the USUHS campus at that time, which was not here. In 1980, the USUHS charter class of 28 graduates were awarded medical degrees. Fast forward now to the year 2013. This year we will graduate our 5,000th medical school graduate at Constitution Hall. Approximately 25% of all active duty military physicians are now USUHS graduates. And many graduates, as exemplified by General Caravallo, are now serving in critical leadership positions around the military health system. When we think of military medicine, we think of trauma, we think of disaster care, we think of chem bio issues, we think of public health principles. But this white coat ceremony provides an opportunity to emphasize that the greatest privilege provided a military physician is to be able to provide care to the men and women in uniform, their families, and retirees and their families. It is our responsibility to know our patients, members of our military family, to understand the challenges faced by service members and their families, and always remember the distress of battle and deployment affects the entire family. You know, in a very simple way, I just always use the story when a young parent brings their child to see in the emergency room, You never know where the other parent might be. They could be deployed thousands of miles away and in harm's way. And the other thing is, they may very well be, their nuclear family may very well be across the country somewhere. They don't necessarily have that aunt or grandparent to go to ask and that. So what do when their child is ill? They bring them into you, both as a physician and as a member of the military family. So the comments from the good Peabody quote, "The good physician knows the patient through and through, for the secret of the care of the patient is in caring for the patient." Nowhere is this truer than in military medicine. I now invite the class members to pin the gold seal of humanism of medicine onto the lapel of your white coat.
I couldn't help but notice the students putting on their pins a second ago. And if I may suggest to you, if you dropped your pin on the floor, you might want to look into internal medicine as opposed to general surgery. I'm the Commanding General of Medical Research and Material Command of the United States Army, and that is a global reach. 2 weeks ago, I came back from Georgia, as in the Republic of Georgia, and in a couple of weeks I'm heading to Kenya and Tanzania. But last night, or this morning at 1 o'clock, I flew back in from a not so distant flight to Fort Rucker, having had visited the folks at Boston, and then going to Alabama to visit 2 of my labs. And the flight back was pretty tumultuous. It was an eventful flight, very bumpy, more than I'd ever experienced. The screams and wailing and the people next to me saying, "Keep it down." And as we landed, everyone clapped and very happy. The loudspeaker or the public announcement, the pilot came on and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry for this very, very bumpy flight." And we did some analysis while we're running on the tarmac here. And I gotta tell you, we found out it is not our fault. It is not the air traffic controller's fault. We've determined that it's the asphalt. So, but Mr. Ford, it's great to see you again. Thank you so much for giving us the military health system that we have today. I know personally that you were deeply involved with the reorganization to help us streamline military medicine. I'm very, very proud to have known you. It's great to see you again. President Rice, good to see you. Fellow flag officers, and especially Paul, good to see you. One of our charter martyrs, as we called them. I had the privilege of seeing that class graduate right up here. I think 30 or so of you all in that class. I feel like I got to see George Washington, the first class graduate, the type of thing. And we really looked up to this group. And we knew that they were leading something great. It's great to see Paul and the other folks in that class do as well as they have done. Welcome as well to our fellow flag officers, to your commandant. Thank you so much for letting me be part of this great ceremony. Now, this is a sentimental year for me, as I graduated from this great school 30 years ago next month. Now, last year, I was allowed to interview prospective students. And I have to tell you, I was very impressed with each and every young person I met. And I don't know this, but I was wondering if any of you all remembered if I interviewed you, and if you're out there in our audience now, if you would just raise your hands. All right. All right. Well, the other 3 didn't look so good. So come on up and see me after you get the residency of your choice. So as with many things in life, this white coat ceremony is simply a symbolic event. Your white coat doesn't make you a medical doctor, but it represents your entry into one of the most revered and respected professions in the world. And with all professions, society grants its members special privileges. For you, this is the privilege of caring for humans in need. Indeed, society will allow you to deal within the full spectrum of human frailty. By wearing this coat, you acknowledge your acceptance of this weighty responsibility. It tells the world you will prepare yourself well, that you will provide expertise to your craft, that you will deal compassionately with the vulnerable population in need of your care, and that you will conduct yourself with the utmost humility and highest standards of behavior. There are more than 100 universities that have white coat ceremonies similar to the one you are taking part in today. But what makes you different is that you will also become military doctors. Now, you and I have the unique and distinct privilege of serving those who serve our nation. We represent our nation's promise to our warfighters, veterans, and their families. To those who go into harm's way, they need not worry if they are injured because you will make them whole. They need not worry about their family's health, for you will provide them care. As military doctors, we straddle two noble professions, the profession of arms and the profession of health. At present, both of these professional landscapes are evolving. The military is moving out from more than a decade of combat. Resources and energies are being rebalanced to the Pacific. However, our global responsibilities remain significant. In fact, the equilibrium between national military strategy and available resources has never been more challenging. At the same time, healthcare in this country is undergoing a grand transformation. We are more patient-centric than ever before. In Army medicine alone, we are moving from a healthcare system to a system of health. I talk about these two professions and the changes in each to prepare you for your impending careers. You will face immense challenges, but I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, you will embrace these great opportunities ahead of you to improve military medicine for those you will be privileged to serve. As you embark on your careers in military medicine, do not limit yourself to a predetermined path. Before you are many, many opportunities, whether it is in the clinic, operating room, research lab, lecture platform, combat field environment, undersea, in flight, or in space. Know that you have the world available to you. All society asks is that you meet its expectations of performance and standards of behavior to improve, sustain, and enrich the lives of fellow humans. With everything you do, pour your heart and soul into the promise you are symbolizing today. Be compassionate, caring, safe, and effective. You are the future of military medicine, and the nation is depending on you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, may God bless those here today. May God bless those deployed in harm's way, and may God bless America. Thank you very much.
He's on that side. Go in between the two groups. Go in between the two groups is just right there.
I'm so sorry.
Just go in between.
Somehow.
I'll take your picture.
Stand up here with Ronald.
Thank you. I'll work my way right down.
We'll take pictures.
Oh, that should be the two of them. Their family first.
Just take them out. Hold on. Mom, can you hold this? It's still going on. Oh, don't cover the camera.
Come on up here. At this time, the Arnold Institute participated with the class and reaffirmed the oath of Hippocrates. I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear
That I will be loyal to the profession of medicine.
that I will be loyal to the profession of medicine
And just and generous to its members.
and just and generous to its members.
I will lead my life
I will lead my life
and practice my art
and practice my art
in uprightness and honor.
in uprightness and honor.
Into whatsoever home I shall enter,
Into whatsoever home I shall enter,
it should be for the good of the sick and the well,
it should be for the good of the sick and the well,
to the utmost of my power.
to the utmost of my power.
I will hold myself aloof from wrongdoing
I will hold myself aloof from wrongdoing
and from corruption
and from corruption
and from the tempting of others to vice.
and from the tempting of others to vice.
I will exercise my art
I will exercise my art
solely for the cure of patients
solely for the cure of patients
and prevention of disease.
and prevention of disease.
I will give no drug and perform no operation
I will give no drug and perform no operation
for a criminal purpose,
for a criminal purpose,
and far less suggest such a thing.
and far less suggest such a thing.
Whatsoever I shall hear or see of the lives of patients
Whatsoever I shall hear or see of the lives of patients
that is not fitting to be spoken,
that is not fitting to be spoken,
I will keep secret.
I will keep secret.
These I do promise,
These I do promise,
and in proportion as I am faithful to this oath,
and in proportion as I am faithful to this oath,
may happiness and good repute be ever mine.
may happiness and good repute be ever mine.
The opposite if I shall be forsworn.
The opposite if I shall be forsworn.
I must say, you all look wonderful. As you know, you have embarked on a lifelong commitment to study and to learn, and to keep studying, and to keep learning. Daniel Coit Gilman was a 19th century educator. He was one of the earliest presidents of the University of California. Subsequently became president of Johns Hopkins University. He also seems to have been one of the great cynics of the 19th century. He once observed, and I quote, "The medical student is likely to be one son of the family, too weak to labor on the farm, too indolent to do any exercise, too stupid for the practice of law, and too immoral for the pulpit." He clearly had never come in contact with our students, and especially not this class. I prefer the inspiring words of Joseph Ward Lister, a man famous for the application of antisepsis surgery. "The profession to which I have the great honor to belong," he said, "I firmly believe is the most humane of all professions. The medical student may be sometimes a rough diamond, but when he comes to have personal charge of patients and have the health of a fellow creature depending on his individual care, he becomes a changed person. And from that day forward, his life becomes a constant exercise of beneficence. And with that beneficence, there is associated benevolence. And practical way, our profession becomes the most benevolent of all. You are now about to experience the metamorphosis of which Lord Lister spoke. Savor these experiences. All you can to derive the maximum educational benefit from them, never forgetting that it is a human being for whom you care. These experiences will lay the foundation for the rest of your career. I know that each of you will make all of us, your family, your fellow students, and your teachers, very proud. Congratulations.
Oh, they're down there?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, that's fine. There, now here.
All this
Yeah.
Over there by the flag.
Yeah, let's have. Now let me take you. Thank you.
I don't take after my dad.